Hello everyone, welcome to another showcase. This time I bring you a 8 piglin bartering farm. Just to start off with, just to give you some context of why I thought this video might even be relevant. Basically, when you have a certain amount of piglins in a farm, in this case there's 8, I think over 4, collecting all the resources that it has and having them managed in one place becomes quite difficult, especially in the nether, because you can't use water transportation, so you have to rely on hoppers. Hoppers unfortunately are very slow, and 4 piglins kind of makes it a struggle to keep up with all the stuff. Now if you're an experienced Minecraft red zoner, none of this may be very interesting or new for you, or maybe it is, but in any way I want to showcase what it is this does differently, I guess, and what benefits you might find from it. I'm just to give you a heads up right now, this is not necessarily going to be a tutorial. I am going to leave a world download in the link, so you're welcome to poke around, use all the stuff that you need to from it. But anyway, without further ado, let me get into the workings of the farm. The farm consists of 2 switches, one of them for the sorting and one of them for the power for the trades. The reason why they're not combined as one switch is because what does tend to happen is that these guys will finish up doing trades, and then the sorting system will be turned off too, which means that even when they're doing their final trades, the last of their products will be just left behind somewhere. In this scenario, you can leave the sorters running for a little while longer, and as soon as you can give it like maybe 10 or 15 seconds afterwards, and that should have sorted all the items out at that point. Now, just to show you how everything works really quickly, we'll power on the trades. So you'll see these guys all get theirs first, then they get theirs, they'll drop theirs and get an instant one straight away, they'll drop theirs and get an instant gold ingot straight away for them. This process then repeats over and over again, and to be honest with you, one of the better ideas of having this running on a clock is that when you don't want the farm to be on, you don't have to wait for the gold to run out before you can turn the farm off. We're running on the other system where the piglin gets a gold ingot, and then the system recognizes it's dropped the items and then it gets another gold ingot. This is toggleable, so when you're in and out of the nether, or you don't want to be making trades because you've got too much stuff, and you'd rather not be in control of them just getting the gold, you can just switch it off and on whenever you feel. Okay, I'm going to turn this on now because it's going to be a huge backlog of items. So I'm showing you in this encasing that I've made, by the way. There is a one you can see right there without any of the build that I've done around it. Obviously I've just done this just to show you an example of what it would look like, or what it could look like in your own world. Again, I put this glass block here just so we can see the items and what's happening with them, but you don't need that there either. You could easily replace that with that if you wanted to. Right, so the reason why I did put this piece of glass right here was to demonstrate what happens to the items. So you can see each piglin is dispensing into a dropper, so they get a dropper per 2 piglins, and that is shooting all the items into this the web. The reason for that is that when the items go through the sorter, and I'll show you the mechanics of that in a second, they get bunched up together, so it's easier for the mechanism to push it, and I think that also decreases a little bit of lag, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So let me just show you the downstairs area. Now again, this is mostly just a visual aid, so now you can see all your items are getting sorted. And the thing why this is really important is because you can see, if you weren't already aware, the piglins have quite a few trades, and unlike the zombie villagers, unlike the villager trades, you don't choose what you want to trade for. They don't have a menu. You're getting what you're getting. I do have to also mention one more thing here. You can see all the items, however we also have this final one here that isn't just for the boots, it's actually for non-stackable items, and there are some stackable items in here as well, which I'll go through with you in a sec. In this chest, primarily, you have the non-stackable items like the splash potions, the soul speed boots. You have ender pearls. Now, number one, I didn't make an ender pearl item sorter. I think you can. I think there is one for ender pearls. I didn't bother with it myself. The second thing I want to address in here as well is the items that are coming through to the end over here. So though these all have filters, things like gravel, things like quartz, and things like soul sand, there's a huge amount of them coming in at a pretty quick speed, so the item filters just can't keep up with it, especially with the overflow. It only gets 20 items per shot to be able to filter them, and the rest go into here. So what I would advise, and I haven't done in this scenario, is things like gravel, nether brick, string, nether quartz. To be honest with you, probably the most used item from this thing anyway. I would create an extra filter for them. So put 2 soul sands next to each other, put 2 obsidian ones, and same with a nether brick. At the end of the day, it just really helps you out. If you're not really that bothered, you can just have the excess coming in here, but then it does mix with the stuff that you don't want to go in there. Alright, so this is the main of the farm, main bits that you need to see physically like this. Let's go to the one without any of the casing, and let's see what's happening under there. So what we have behind us is essentially what you saw before, but the bare bones of it. Now again, I'm not going to do a full tutorial for this. If you're quite well versed with redstone, most of this will make sense to you, and you can just replicate it as you will. If you're not very good at it, I have left a download in the description. It should be pretty straightforward to follow, and I'm going to give you a breakdown of all the little mechanics of it. I'm also going to give you a quick breakdown of the mechanics of how things work on here as well, so you don't just follow me building it, you can figure out most of this stuff by yourself. So again, it is very straightforward. All we're doing on this side specifically is running a clock that goes into the droppers over here, and that'll make sure the items are spat out pretty fast, and sometimes to its detriment too fast, as you've seen from the storage area. However, keep in mind, I said as well, I would expand the stackable items. Anyway, so with this powered on, this turns the clock off by pushing it down, and this adds a power to stop this clock going off from here. The reason for this clock in the first place is that you need to run the slime block pushers for your transport system. Being in the nether, as I mentioned earlier, you don't have the luxuries of water, so in this case we're using slime block pushers with ice and a little bit of an alignment from our good old friend the ender chest here. The second thing that you need to note of here is the ether clock. This is pretty straightforward clock, you've probably seen it everywhere. All we're doing is taking a signal from each push, so when the redstone block is here, it powers this one, and when the redstone block is here, we use a repeater to take the power out and power out this side. Again, really straightforward stuff. You can actually see that the reason why I've used this, again, as I mentioned, is you want to have the control over them trading and not trading. I think this is probably the easiest way to do it, and I think actually I'm pretty sure I got this idea from Etho doing it on one of his episodes, and he mentioned that it was better to run it off a clock, and I couldn't agree more. The timings for it is 9 items, so 9 items will ensure that they're pretty much trading instantly. In fact, I think removing one makes it too fast and adding one makes it just a little bit too slow, so 9 was actually the perfect number. Again, remember the spider webs there just to capture the items to keep them in one place. I don't think I'm missing too much more here. Obviously we do have the storage system. This is just a standard overflow storage system. Yeah, you're welcome to look up this system anywhere online. Again, it's all it's going to be in the world download anyway. The main thing that I think that we want to take away from here is this ender chest is probably the most important part about this whole system here, because aligning the items up against the ender chest and then having them slide down there, it's a very fine line between having items getting stuck in hoppers over here and it gliding right down to the end, nice and easy. Now, I did have piglins in here so I could show you things running, but apparently I forgot to name all of them. So let's just put some in. Of course, we're going to get a baby. Okay. I'm going to put them all in. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. I've got all the piglins in their spaces, plus a few extra little kids who were not wanted, but here we are. So I'm going to run a quick test so you can see everything running properly. In fact, I'm going to put everything on and then we're going to go in spectator mode. So I usually start it off with this. Oh, don't want to do that. And there we go. So now you can see, we just get into spectator. These guys are all now trading as they should be, dropping their items into the hoppers, which is then being spat out into the web there. Now with this, all that happens, well, I'm going to start off with this one here because this one actually joins into the main unit. So this has all the items that will eventually drop here. Just keep in mind, because it's in a web, it takes a minute for a sec. Now you see that the items kind of glitch out a little bit. Don't worry too much about that. You're not losing any items, nothing's going wrong. It's just it's kind of a bug that's been around since the beginning of it. I think it's just like an update thing. So you can see here, the timings on there are pretty tight. As soon as that one launches, that pushes straight out too. So that will join the items there and then gets pushed out. And then this one follows not too far after. There we go. Now, this is the part I was talking about with the ender chest. You can see it hits right up against the ender chest. This piston needs time for the items, all of the items, to hit against the ender chest first. If it hits against the ender chest, you can see it will glide all the way down and filter through all the necessary filters. Any that it doesn't go through, obviously, ends up over here. And any extras, as I mentioned earlier. So I don't think there's really much else for me to show you. If you're really used to redstone, this isn't anything complicated. I'm going to leave the world download in the link. If you do like what you've seen here, please like and subscribe. And if you do like a tutorial, if enough people are interested, I'm very happy to do a block by block. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.